Hello everyone, it's Deb Floros of Deb Loves Jewelry, and I'm back with another unboxing and project with one of the Softflex mystery design kits, Enchanted Forest. And I couldn't love this one more. So when I opened it up, I just gasped. These are always such fun kits to look at, to play with, to just make jewelry joyfully. So the Enchanted Forest is going to release at the end of July, and there's just so much fun that starts to happen once you get to the reveal time because everyone starts to share their creations. So here's the packaging, which I always love. It always matches, it always goes with the theme, and I was intrigued with the little butterfly on the front. So I knew this was going to be good. So I opened up the package, and this is always the moment I kind of hold my breath a little bit. Then I open up the package and I see flowers, I see beautiful rich colors, and I'm just so excited. So here is the Jesse James Beads mix, which is purples and greens and pinks. There are so many pretty shapes, and there's some silver, there's some table cut beads, these beautiful silver beads that have some really nice details, some leaves. This is just really lovely. Lots of beautiful things to work with here. I love the frosted purple glass. And then there's the check glass and some of the other glass. These are amazing. I didn't end up using those, but these squares are absolutely stunning. And these are some fun shapes. Another table cut bead there. I'm adding some 11O seed beads of my own, and I always like to use them for spacers and for dimension and just to add a little bit of something to the project. So I'm going to start with a necklace, and I'm going to just string on some of the beads. I'm going to start with that filigree bead, and those are sometimes challenging to string on, so just take your time. You'll be able to get the Softflex through that, no problem. I'm using 2 seed beads in between each bead, and I'm putting the purple and silver beads up top. And you'll see later that I actually take off the filigree bead that I started with. I like the idea of 3 of the purple beads and 2 of the filigree beads. And the purple bead is a lot easier to get the Softflex through when you finish up your piece. So I'm just stringing on lots of pretties and starting to integrate some color, some shape. Those interesting drop beads have a really cool finish on them. Now I wish I would have put more of them in this design, but I had a few left, and I am going to use them in the 2 additional things I'm going to make after this necklace. So I'm bringing in those really lovely little table cut beads that have a blue-green to them. So that kind of mixes things up a little bit. And then I'm introducing those big squares, which are really beautiful. They look like green windows, and they're just gorgeous. And I think when you start to put them with all of the other colors, they're really fun. So I'm pulling out these cool electroplated beads, and I've got some 2-inch head pins. Those were from my stash. I'm going to take my round nose pliers and create a wire wrap loop for this. And I'm going to just wrap a couple of times around that bead, maybe 3 times, and then I'm going to trim off my excess wire. And after that last bead you see on the string there, I'm going to add a seed bead and then string on that drop, then another seed bead. And oh, by the way, you might want to tuck in your little end of wire with some chain nose pliers. So that's going on the string, and then I'm going to use the table cuts and the other electroplated beads. So I've got 5 beads at the focal there with those small table cut beads in between them. And I think that just the color and the finishes on the beads and the shapes and everything just make that focal section look really, really cool. So I'm now wrapping the last bead and tucking in my little piece of wire where I trimmed off the excess, And that one's going on. And then I'm just going to start to repeat the pattern, but I'm going to do a little something different. So I'm putting on a seed bead, and then I'm stringing on that oval shaped bead, then 2 seed beads and the next green square, then 2 seed beads, and then one of those little sort of rondelle shaped purple beads is going to go after that. And then 2 more seed beads, and I decided I must use the Green Girl Studios button, and I'm just going to string it onto my stringing wire. And that is going to act like a bead. It can spin around. However, when you're wearing it, most likely it will stay in place because it's going to be laying flat to your body. Now, it could still move around, but those pieces are so much fun that it's okay. Now, you do want to make sure that you've got enough seed beads to create some clearance between the rondelles. So I ended up doing 6 seed beads on either side of the button. Now, that's going to sort of make the wire go away. You don't need to do this, but it's actually holding it in place and creating that clearance so that those 2 purple beads can be where they need to be and they won't interfere with the button. So that's what I did there. So you see the purple beads on either side of the button. And then that took up just about the same amount of space as the second green bead on the other side. So I was able to just go ahead and continue on with my pattern on the other side of the necklace. And it is the exact same length. So that worked out quite perfectly. I wasn't actually expecting it to, but now it's just a little fun accent to one side of the necklace. And I'm going all the way up the other side, and those filigree beads can be a little challenging to string on. Again, take your time. And now I'm going to finish this one off. I'm going to put on a bead stopper and then trim the wire from the packaging and take off that filigree bead on the other side. I really like it ending on a purple bead. So everything's looking good. I'm kind of doing a once over to make sure everything quality-wise is where it should be. All the right number of beads are there. And I'm going to set that aside to put a clasp on. So I'm going to do a simple bracelet, and I've pulled out all of my favorite things that are left, including one of those ceramic butterflies for a focal. And I really love the metal coin beads that are part of the Jessie James Beads Mix. So here I am speeding up, finishing up that piece. This is just a simple bracelet, but it's so whimsical and pretty. The colors are beautiful. The silver accents are fantastic. So I'm just stringing and using seed beads in between. I'm actually doing 3 seed beads in between each piece and measuring it out, putting on my bead stoppers and moving on to earrings. So I've got some Soft Flex 22 gauge craft wire, and I'm going to make some fun little earrings. So I'm cutting off about 4 inches of wire, and I'm adding one of those drop beads and doing a crisscross. And I want enough space for that bead to move around just a little bit. And I'm going to come in with some chain nose pliers and grab a hold of where the wire crisscrosses. I'm going to pull one wire around and pull the other wire up and do a few wraps around. This can be perfectly precise wrapping or a really messy wrapping, however you'd like. Mine's somewhere in between. Then I'm going to tuck in the end of my wire, and then I'm going to string on one of those pink bicones, which are so lovely, a seed bead, and then one of those beautiful AB flowers, which I absolutely love, and then 2 seed beads and one of the ceramic butterflies. Now, those butterflies will tilt a little to the side. It's the way that the holes were drilled in them. They look perfectly cute that way. and they both kind of tilt almost the same exact amount. So they look really cute. It adds another whimsical, fun aspect to these earrings. I'm going to put 3 seed beads on top of the butterfly, and then I'm going to do a wire wrap loop up top. So these are just really sweet, really whimsical, and they just go so nicely with the whimsical bracelet and the whimsical necklace. So I've got my earring wrapped, and oh, that's so adorable. I love the colors together. I love the shapes together. I'm just going to use some simple ear wires that come with the kit and add those on super easy. And you see that little butterfly tilts up almost like it's flying. And then I'm going to come back and finish up the jewelry, the clasp for the bracelet. I'm going to use the lobster claw, and I'm going to crimp the loop on one side so that I can attach my lobster claw directly to that. And the lobster claw loop will just be a little bit smaller to accommodate the lobster and also to give it movement. You don't want to pull that too tight. So making sure it's got some movement, and then I'm going to crimp that off and make this lovely bracelet finished. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty and so sweet and whimsical. I'm in love with it. So now let's put on a clasp, a toggle clasp from my stash. I think actually the toggle bar is different than the flower, but it works fabulously. So I'm going to attach to both ends one side of the toggle, give that a crimp, and then I'm going to attach the other side. And I am madly in love with this necklace. And these mystery design kits from Softflex are just so inspiring. They always have so many fun things to work with, lots of shapes and beautiful colors and whimsical things. This is truly an Enchanted Forest set. If you would like to get one of your own, check out softflexcompany.com and pick up a mystery design kit. This one is Enchanted Forest. There are others that are also equally inspiring and fun to work with. Thank you to my subscribers, and if you were watching and you're not a subscriber, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I would be ever grateful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.